It is possible, but you have, I mean, right now you have both sides are, how shall I call it, psychologically unstable, or I don't know what the exact term will be, but you have on the side of the Israelis a lot of the people with, you know, as coming out of the Nazi environment of the Holocaust, they swore this will never happen to us again. But now, over the last few years, when the whole world, the United Nations says you cannot build settlements in occupied lands, it's against international rules, and they keep bringing immigrants, giving them Palestinian land, siphon all the resources to send it to those settlements, and you have kind of like little settlements among the Palestinian cities. How can you segregate them? At the same time, you know, let's have one big happy family, one big government, and there's a lot of anonymity between these two sides. Palestinians been living under occupation, humiliated. There's, I mean, a psychologist did a study in Gaza, over 1,000 children. A lot of them don't have the will to live. It's just when you're constantly beaten, humiliated, the ration is out. So these people are not ready for peace. The Israelis are not ready for peace. These settlers, they don't care, they have this land and they're not moving. And the Israeli government is not obviously promoting this kind of behavior. So between the government, the settlers, the Palestinians, no one is ready for it. So is it available now? I don't think so.
You know, I have some hope for peace. I'm not sure that I have hope for a two-state solution. A two-state solution is going to be pretty hard. I mean, when you're over there, you see Israel building settlements everywhere. And these are not small settlements. These are, you know, major cities with infrastructure and hospitals and schools and protected by the Israeli army, and roads that are exclusively used by Israelis, and walls being built across Palestinian land, and checkpoints and hundreds of checkpoints and on and on. They're not going to give that up.
I should say to start that I think that as long as there are groups of people that are hostile to other groups of people because of who they are, because of what faith they are, and who harbor hatred in their hearts for other groups of people, like true hatred, which we see in Jerusalem, that peace is not possible. But because I'm a faithful Jew, hope for peace in Jerusalem is an essential part of my faith. Not only because it is an essential part of my faith, but because I believe that the second we say, I have no hope for something happening, is the second we stop trying for it to occur.
Well, maybe part of it needs to start with this country. I mean, there is a blind support of the U.S. to Israel. Barack Obama just approved $2.7 billion in military aid to Israel. And when someone feels they get all the support of the biggest power in the world, you know, who's to stop you? There's no accountability. Within Israel itself, there's a lot of peace movements coming out now, talking against the government and what they're doing. On the Palestinian side, you know, being unoccupied, it's, you know, what do you have but abide by the rules? You know, there's nothing could be done on their end. They're morally and socially destructed. They're just surviving, and their goal is to get their food for the end of the day. There's not even thought beyond that. What can we do? Or they have no option. That's why I discount their role. So it's more on the Israeli side and the U.S. side.
What we see in South Africa and what we've seen in some other places, the American South under Jim Crow, is that God had to raise up a hero, a Mandela, a King, a Gandhi. And I am not sure that I see any of those heroes on the horizon. But that's what I pray for. I pray for a Palestinian Dr. King. I pray for an Israeli Mandela. We need a hero. By hero, I mean somebody who's able to transcend their own national self-interest, the narrow short-term self-interest of either the Palestinians or the Israelis, and somebody who's really far-sighted is somebody who can walk in the shoes of the other person. And I think America needs to adopt a more even-handed policy. We are the one superpower in the world, and we have lots and lots of capacity to either assist the process of peace or hurt the process. For 60 years we've hurt the process, but adopting a more even-handed approach can really help. So
the most important thing is that we need to raise our children and raise our children to raise their children without that hatred towards other people, without that hostility towards other people. Because even if I change my views, what I've taught my children continues to live long after I'm dead. That involves a basic respect for other human beings and a true commitment to try to understand them and their need to also be in Jerusalem. They're not like political action steps. They're not military steps. They're simple philosophical steps. But I want to echo what a lot of other clergy people and people of faith have said, which is that a snowflake is very light, but thousands of snowflakes put together can break the branch of a tree. And so if my beliefs and my actions and my intentions in raising my children and in teaching my students can count as 1 or 2 or 5 snowflakes, then that might mean the difference.
Greater things have yet to come, and greater things have still to be done in this city. Greater things have yet to come.